What's up, YouTube? Mr. LawMSC here, and today I want to talk about the 99 grind and just some thoughts that I had along the way, and a little bit of analysis of it, and just kind of a whole little fun piece. So, we got our Paladin, Mr. LawMSC, to level 99, and it was definitely a community effort. I stated that from the beginning. I in no way, and especially over the course of the run, no way thought it was my own doing, and definitely as we got more towards the later half, I realized just how much it was the community helping us along the way. So GG to everybody who did help us get there. It was crazy. Now, with that being said, there are a few things that I would like to talk about from it. Number one, it felt very good and bad to have the game creation limit gone, because that was the big difference between now and before, right? There's always been communities that have run, going all the way back to Rust Barb versus Jur Barb, where they would go and prep the games for each other, and then those guys would come in, get the experience shrine, go kill Diablo, go kill Baal, and then move on to the next game, whatever it was, right? So that strategy that we kind of were doing towards the end, which I'll show there in a bit, was not new, but the new piece is now you can just jump games immediately. There's a 5-second downtime between games, and so if you can have infinite people creating infinite games, then you never have to wait, and you can just jump, kill Diablo, jump, kill Diablo, jump, kill Diablo, over and over and over again. And so it was nice in that it really sped up level 98. Like before, level 98 took forever because only Diablo, Nilithak, and Baal give you experience at that level. And I'm going to show you experience here and why it is that way, just for the people who don't know. So basically, when you're below 25, there's a penalty for mobs being too high of a level or too low of a level. When you're above level 25 to 69, you just get penalized there if the mob is lower level than you right here, okay? And you can see that there's this, if they're 10 levels, greater than 10 levels, or 10 or greater levels, you only get 5% of the mob's experience. So for instance, if I have Lister the Tormentor right here, and that's not going to give me how much experience he gives. I want that. Who's going to give me his experience? Hit points. There we go. Experience. Lister the Tormentor in Hell gives 632,255 experience, right? So let's bring up a calculator. 632,255. Now let's do times 4.5 for 450% experience for players 8. And he would give 2.8 million experience, which is a lot of EXP, right? But if we are 10 levels away from him, which at level 98 you are, it's only times 0.05 for 5%, right? So now it's 142,000 experience. But then on top of it at level 98, there's also a penalty where you only get 0.59% of the experience that you're getting then from being away. So that is times 0.0059. And now Lister the Tormentor, who gave 2.8 million experience on P8, gives you 839 experience. And this is why it just is an absolute nightmare. And I'm sure there's a couple minor adjustments around those numbers. But essentially, this is where you're going to end up at, is he's going to give you basically no experience. And this is true for all of the mobs in the game. List of the Tormentor on P8 is probably one of the most experience-giving mobs in the game. That is not one of those bosses, and yet you get absolutely no experience, right? So you get 839 experience, or whatever, roughly around there, and it's terrible. And you basically get nothing. So this is why going and doing the Bale Waves, clearing the chaos, doing pit runs, doing any of those things just don't help. They just don't get you experience, because you need, hundreds of millions of experience, and that is just going to take you forever. Instead, you go and kill Diablo and Bale, and they give you like 55,000, 54,000 experience roughly per kill, which is a lot faster. So again, you go and do those kills in the chaos. And before, when there was rate limiting on the games, or there was realm down, you would just have to do less games and more wait and get in, or you'd have to do key swapping, which happened a bunch there, where they just go and have to keep swapping the keys so they can get on the character and get on and do more games while one is realm downed or whatever it is. So it was just really a nightmare back then. Now it's much easier. But it brings up another issue, which is now it kind of makes it a little less fair, right? Because now, it never was completely fair. It always was a communal race to first 99. But now the guy who has 12 people who are doing Chaos Bale runs, when I say 12, I mean 12 groups of people doing Chaos Bale runs, can say, hey, at the end of your Chaos or Bale run, can I just come in and kill your Diablo or Bale? And they're like, yeah, I don't really care, because nobody really cares to do Bale or Diablo that much when you're doing like Bale runs and that stuff for leveling. It doesn't give nearly as much for the person who's not over leveled. So they just say, sure. So then I can come in and just keep joining off all these groups and killing the Bales and killing the Diablos, and it's so much better. And somebody else who has, maybe a group of 8-10 people that they're playing with, it's a lot more difficult. So now you have to have a group of at least, probably 3 groups that are working really hard at it, or a large number of groups that are casually just doing their runs and you're joining in. And it's just making it really difficult overall to do. And here we can, I'll show up and I'll just kind of put this on and show just kind of how it was running, right? While I kind of talk about it. So to me, it just felt very bleh. It was extremely boring. I really liked the race in the earlier stages, where I was going and I would do like Players 8 Chaos while they were going and, leveling up and doing the Bale waves. Then I'd come and join them for wave 4 and 5 and go kill Bale with 3 of them while the next guy starts the next game. And then I go do P8 Chaos all by myself again while it continues on over and over and over again. Whereas this just feels very cheesy and very simple and very boring, and there's no real threat of dying. And I just kind of, I just go in and kill Diablo and then go to game invitations, join the next game, rinse and repeat. And you just get in, the biggest delay, the hardest part of this game was the lag like this of the load screens of getting into the next game. That was like the hardest part about it, was when the servers were struggling on that Saturday and it was hard to like join into the games because you had to wait a little bit sometimes. So overall, I felt like it wasn't a great experience at that point. It was definitely faster. I appreciated it being faster because I didn't want to be in the games for, like doing it the other way. You're doing the same thing, just a lot slower because you just have to still wait. You're still like, hey guys, I'm rate limited, so it's going to, I can join the game once every 2-3 minutes. So I'll join in and then I'll go kill Diablo and Nilithak and then join for Bale, and then we'll rinse and repeat. But I just have to like take longer in the games. It still wasn't great prior. Now it's just kind of gotten worse though, in my opinion. So the 2 things that I personally would like to see going forward are as such. Number 1, I would love to see them adjust the way of getting to 99, maybe in a way that still takes time, but they move away from only Diablo Bale and Nilithat giving experience. Because when those are the possibilities, it naturally creates this strategy of you just have to have people get you to those bosses. I really like if I could go in and get that experience myself. I don't know if this is having something like a level 90 zone that you can get in, maybe an Act 6, whatever it is, but like changing something like that. They don't have to change up, like the item drops for it or anything. It could still be like 85s or something like that. I also, of course, have talked about I'd love one more difficulty beyond hell that's like just for super geared characters, and it's really difficult and crazy. I think that would be insane and super fun. Literally do the same thing. Normal, nightmare, hell, and then 4th difficulty that's just like super insane for all of these crazy stacked characters. Because, let's face it, once your character's super stacked, hell even kind of gets a little bit easy. And maybe like in there they could have zone difficulties that go up to the 90s or something. Just something that has more mobs of a level that I can actually kill. Because again, I'm not doing this strategy in front of you right here because I'm going, this is super fun and what I desire to do. I'm doing this strategy in front of you here because Diablo and Bale are the only mobs, and Nilithek are the only mobs that give any experience whatsoever, and Diablo is just the fastest and easiest one to get to. It's just like simple as that. So, to me, I really think that could be a good solution. There's still always going to be the communal aspect of it. And I don't hate the communal aspect of this either. I mean, I think that's a really fun part of the game is when a community comes together to push someone to 99. We've seen that, like I said, the whole history of it, everybody who's always been at the top has had somebody pushing them, or been a bot maybe, but, had groups of people that were helping push them and all that stuff. And I think that's fun. But I would just like there to be a shift in how we can get to 99. So it just becomes more fun, even if, like I said, they don't change the amount of time it actually takes to get there. They could maybe increase the experience needed, decrease the penalties or something if they don't want to increase the zone, whatever it is. So I think something like that would be solution number 1. Solution number 2, and I think this actually would be a really fun one that kind of solves 2 birds with 1 stone, is having a solo self-found ladder. I really love playing solo, right? A lot of people are like, oh, Mr. Llama just got carried by the community and doesn't ever play the game or anything. And it's like, have you watched my channel? I play solo all the freaking time. I mean, I have beaten this game thousands and thousands and thousands of times on my own, and solo self-found with gear, all of this stuff. I think it's one of the best experiences, and it's actually what got me back into Diablo 2 and into streaming, was I loved playing on single player. I just thought, oh my god, it's so fun to like go and all of a sudden these items you didn't care about anymore are now super fun and all of this. I think it also does have, it has a different feel, it has a different playing field, all of this stuff. And I think it would be really great. Now, the problem is getting to 99 on players 1 is the biggest nightmare you could ever think of. Like, oh my god, I can't think of anything worse than having to go to 99 on P1. So what this brings in is the other thing people are talking about, which is, can we have Players X online? And if you have a solo self-found ladder, I don't see why not. I think your people aren't joining your games, anything like that. So now you can bring PX online for all the solo self-found people. And I've actually thought you could also bring it on for, like communal play, but you would just, if somebody does like a Players X number, like P8 or something in a game, then it would just not be joinable by other people, right? It would just like lock that game in so that it doesn't change with people joining or anything like that. But I've really liked the idea of, for a solo self-found ladder, you can have the PX. So now you can have that journey, the solo self-found leaderboards, which I think are really interesting to watch and really fun as people kind of journey up those. And that's kind of a really cool competition. And at the same time, you can have the PX, so then they can be increasing that, experience gain as they get there. So when they get to those later stages, you go and you can kill Diablo, kill Baal, do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And it can be really nice. And yeah, so I would just love for that. They don't need to have static maps. They can change the maps if they want, anything like that. If they brought a solo self-found ladder, I would 100% participate in that and just have a great time grinding on that. I mean, I just love it. I just love playing in that manner. I mean, like I said, I've gone to 99 on single player before. Like I've grinded through all sorts of stuff on single player. And I think it's also really fun because it takes all of those other elements away. It takes the community away from giving me free stuff. It takes JSP away from the dude who goes and just buys the first Enigma. It takes everything like that away, and it just puts it as the dudes going and just farming and playing the game and competing in that way. And I really do think that would be a good time. And it would be interesting. So, I think it would shift it up and just be a fun time for everybody to have there. So those are kind of the two things that I'd really like to see changed. I'd like to see some way to get new zones and then or new just ways to level to 99. And then I'd like to have like a solo self-found ladder just so we could have that competition as well. I still think first communal is still fun, but I think it's kind of a separate piece that's like fun in, its own different way. Something like that. And then PX is totally fine in that realm. That brings that online for people who want to play online with it and blah, blah, blah. And all of the good stuff. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. Again, it was a really fun time grinding to 99 with everybody, especially in those earlier stages. That last level was definitely a little bit like, all right, we're just killing Diablo 5,000 times. I think it was like 5,500 Diablo kills or something. But it was a good time still. I did enjoy getting to play with everybody. I'm happy that everybody got to make some friends and get some good Baals and Diablos and all of that stuff in. And yeah, I think that's all we got right there, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed some of those thoughts. Maybe you did. Maybe you don't care. Maybe it's, whatever. Obviously, there's still stuff to improve, like lobby and other things like that. And, we can have whole other videos on all those things. But for me and my experience with that 99 grind, I just kind of wanted to bring up some of those points that I was thinking about from when we went through it all. Because I just thought, yeah, I just want to talk about it a little bit more, I just want to like get that out there. Maybe they'll listen. Who knows? Regardless, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace, YouTube.